Hello, and welcome to the continuation of my dumb Mario comic. In the last one, I spent way too long going through the first 10 issues of the series, and in this one, I'll go through the last 10 volumes I made. Now, I know I said I would also cover the material I planned to put in this series, but on second thought, I think I'll have to save that for another video so I can actually go into detail about them and the story behind it. Plus, I obviously don't have any good equipment or whatever, and uploading hour-long videos from my phone was an absolute nightmare last time, so sorry about that, everyone. Anyways, I think my writing skills in this series have actually improved a lot from the last arc. It's not good, but I think things are more clear and concise, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like my drawing skills maybe improved just a little bit from last time. That said, there's still a part where I spend way too long on a mini arc and I spend way too long setting up a location, but it's at least pretty fun. That's a discussion for when I actually get to it though. I've wasted enough time, so let's get on to volume 1 of the Lord G arc. Okay, volume 11. See what I mean about my art style improving? Anyways, our journey starts with a flashback. Mario remembering his days as a plumber in New Donk City. Cut back to present day. It turns out Mario, Luigi, and Daisy are all at a celebration of some kind at Luigi's house. Mario asks Luigi if he remembers being a plumber, and it turns out he still is one. Mario is still unemployed after quitting acting, and Luigi cleverly tells us it's been 4 months since they defeated Mama Civis. We also get a reveal that Luigi and Daisy are dating again. Also, Mario and Luigi have a pet heron. I named him after a One Piece character. Daisy thinks it's really cool. She's always wanted to have a pet, and the heron squawks at her and chases her. Why is this relevant? You'll see later. Mario goes downstairs to the basement to get ingredients for supper, and he finds the entire place filled with props from the Super Mario Bros. 3 play, which, if you remember, is the play Mario and Luigi starred in. Mario is surprised Luigi kept everything, including the creepy sun. Suddenly, Mario knocks over a suspicious box his parents had in the basement, and his life is absolutely changed forever when he sees what's in it. There is a third Mario Bro. End of chapter 50. Yep, we're right into the action in this first arc again. And yeah, I made their third Mario Bro, 'cause of course I did. Before we get into the ramifications of this though, chapter 51 starts us in the remains of Mama Civis' ultimate weapon, 2 days earlier. Professor Egad is back, and he's made the weapon fully functional again. Why? For Lord G, the mysterious villain from before. Egad asks for payment, but Lord G tosses him aside. Ludwig, who works for Lord G if you remember, laughs at him for expecting that from Lord G. Before Lord G can do anything with this weapon though, the former Mama Civis lieutenants are here to stop him. In case you couldn't tell, I like making characters return. Anyways, they tell him to stop, so Lord G tells Ludwig to deal with him. Ludwig jumps over him and stabs him in the back with some kind of space laser energy. He's killed Suma Bro, with just as much ease as Mama Civis killed Peach and Toadsworth. The 2 surviving lieutenants are terrified, as Ludwig uses this mysterious energy to counteract their power-ups. Boomerang Bro runs toward Lord G, rips his hood off, and it's our third Mario Bro. Lord G slams him on the ground and tells him he'll suffer for that. End of chapter 52. In the next chapter, Lord G is extremely angry at Boomerang Bro for revealing his secret and crushes him with a power-up, the rock power-up from Super Mario Galaxy 2, one of the abilities he has. Ludwig kills the final lieutenant and is very surprised at Lord G's face. Lord G slaps him and tells him that doesn't matter. He's gonna kill Mario and Luigi, his brothers. Lord G fires up the ultimate weapon and shoots a laser into the sky. Ludwig says he's going to destroy Rainbow Road, and Lord G says that according to his calculations, the debris will fall somewhere in Sarasa Land. That's their next destination. They need to collect the celestial energy. But before they do that, he has some business in the Bean Kingdom. So yeah, in case you couldn't tell, I like starting my stories with absolutely huge revelations, and I think there being a third Mario Bro who wants to kill Mario and Luigi is a suitably huge revelation. Anyways, Rosalina. She's up in space and she notices a place called Rainbow Road destroyed. If you remember, she has been, I guess, spying on Mario and Luigi this whole time. She can only hope her Luma's made it to Earth on time. Back to present day. Mario doesn't know how he's going to break the news to Luigi about what he found. When Luigi remarks Rainbow Road, that pretty rainbow belt in space, supposedly blew up, and no one knows why. Mario remarks that there used to be a go-kart track themed around him that has a Rainbow Road course. Luigi says Warp made him keep the carts, and Mario says how much he hates his former agent. Suddenly, the Luma belonging to Rosalina finds its way into Mario and Luigi's house. Except, he needs a vessel to occupy in order to speak with them. And I think he's found one. End of chapter 53. Next chapter starts with the Luma immediately speaking, and everyone notices he just kind of possessed their hearing. They're very weirded out, but just kind of go with it as the Luma explains the situation, minus the part about Rosalina. Apparently they're not ready to learn about her yet. The Lumas are a race born from the galaxy, destined to die and become a new one. They live on distant satellites, comets, and moons in space, and the only way they can go to a planet is by possessing a vessel of some kind. So an alien just possessed the Mario Bros. Pet bird. Luma acknowledges it's a lot to take in, but he tells them the world is in danger. He asks if they know what Rainbow Road is. Daisy talks about how it just blew up, and Luma is shocked to hear this. He's one step further in his plan. He explains who Lord G is, and how he is the one behind Bob on Battlefield incident. He's Mouser's boss. Lord G's plan the whole time was to rebuild the ultimate weapon Mama Civis was working on, and then use it to shoot Rainbow Road down, and collect the shards that might come down to Earth. Before he can continue, Mario asks how he knows all this, and Luma explains how he has the ability to see planets nearby. Daisy asks if that means he's been watching them the whole time, and he finally faces the front this time, weird, and says it was to protect them. They're a little weirded out, and Luigi asks why he would want to destroy Rainbow Road. According to Luma, Rainbow Road is the origin point of a mystical energy present throughout all the galaxy. Celestial energy. He goes out to demonstrate what this new power is, as everyone follows him as the chapter ends. Before Luma explains everything about this mysterious force our heroes will have to contend with, I sneak in a little acknowledgement of Donkey Kong and how he hasn't responded yet. Anyways, the info dump continues as Luma makes a sword out of celestial energy. This is the first ability of celestial energy, solid, an extremely powerful ability where he can make solid objects out of any size, shape, or even length. I don't know why that's the surprising part, but anyways, the second ability is Beam, which creates a laser. If this laser touches any solid object created by celestial energy, it causes it to disappear. Those are both the abilities for celestial energy this Luma has. In case you couldn't tell, if power-ups are the devil fruit of this universe, this is the hockey. Although Mario and Luigi never actually get it, which will make sense later on as we find out where this energy truly comes from. Spoiler alert, it isn't actually Rainbow Road. Anyways, there's also a third celestial energy ability, but Luma doesn't have it. It's teleportation. With teleport, you can teleport yourself or any objects to any other places. Kamek from the Mama Civis army has this ability, although it's unknown how he got it. Moving on, Lord G likely wants celestial energy so we can destroy the entire Mushroom Kingdom, even though he's probably strong enough to destroy it without celestial energy. Our heroes declare they must stop him, and Luma says the chunk of celestial energy Lord G is going after will likely be in Sarasaland. Daisy doesn't like this. Volume 11 ends. So yeah, that's basically the plot of this arc, pretty much. I do establish it fairly early on. Mario, Luigi, and Daisy have to stop the secret third Mario Bro from destroying the Mushroom Kingdom, and Daisy has to deal with returning to her homeland. Two character conflicts that write themselves right there. Anyways, Volume 12 starts with Daisy saying it'll probably be awkward returning to Sarasaland, but she knows Lord G must be stopped. The Luma says they have to do it before he reaches the Rainbow Road chunk and becomes basically invincible. I wonder if they'll actually stop him in time. Anyways, Lord G's actually also a cyborg. Mario asks the Luma what his name is, and he says his name is Heart Music ! For those of you who don't know, that's the true name of Geno, one of the main party members from Super Mario RPG, and the one everyone wants in Smash for some reason. And he's a main party member here. Heart Music Note ! Says that it's kind of hard to pronounce though, so they can decide a name for him later. The four heroes get ready to go to Toad Town to get supplies for their long journey, but the Luma has one more thing to tell them. Lord G's true name is Giuseppe, and he is their brother who is separated from them at birth. Everyone's shocked by this and wonders what could have happened to make him evil. The Luma tells them, for the sake of their kingdom and their people, forget Giuseppe's their brother. End of chapter 56. Okay, so I took the name and color scheme for Giuseppe from a Dorkly video. I absolutely hate Dorkly now, and they were never funny in the slightest, but I unfortunately did like them when I was a dumb kid. Although, the idea of a third Mario Bro with the name Giuseppe is still kind of funny. Anyways, we cut to Acorn World. A familiar character is trapped in a prison by Kamek, Toad. He and his friends declare they will finally escape. Kamek laments about how the last wish of Mama Sis was to keep Toad imprisoned. But if what Egad told them is true, then the legacy of Bowser might live in someone else. He doesn't know what to do. Back in Toad Town, Luigi and Daisy split up to look for camping supplies, as Mario and Luma look for food. Luigi and Daisy get some supplies from the single greatest and most iconic Mario character ever, Mushbert from Mario Party Advance. Yeah, this is pretty much obscure characters, the art. Notice how actually important characters like Yoshi, Wario, Waluigi aren't here yet, but I have fucking Mushbert. I think that's actually a good decision. End of chapter 57. Luma finds a thief stealing a toy from a child in the next chapter, so he goes to take it back. He whacks him with a huge celestial energy wall, and he drops the toy. Hey, look what it is he stole. Also, this is Croco from Super Mario RPG. Luma is very determined to make him give the toy back, so Croco scratches at him, and Luma hits him away with his celestial energy pole. Croco bites him, and he's knocked away. The Luma is pretty much a glass cannon, given he has one of the strongest abilities in the series, but he's also a heron. Croco tries to bite him again, but he shoots him twice with lasers, and whacks him a bunch with the pole, and hits him away again. The kid thanks him for getting his toy back, and Mario and Luigi go on their merry way. Croco isn't staying down, though. End of chapter 58. Croco uses a wing cap power-up, and tries to fly away in the next chapter. The wing cap from Super Mario 64. The Luma shoots him away with a laser, though, and the kid's impressed. Her mom thinks it's too violent, though. The kid remarks that he has a cool arm cannon, just like his Geno toy. And the Luma thinks, hey, that sounds like a cool name. So, from henceforth, this guy shall be known as Geno. Later on, the four heroes reunite and set off for Sarasaland. We cut back to Lord G. He has 4 new recruits. They've heard of him and decided to join him. Motley Boss Blob, the guy from Super Mario 3D World. King Totomesu, the guy from Super Mario Land. Thanatos, who isn't even a Mario character. And Wart, the former agent of Mario. Lord G tells everyone they're replaceable to him. He'll be rid of them if they're not useful to him. He tells his recruits to figure out where his brothers are and remove any way for them to store food, so they'll die. Except for Wart. Lord G uses his other power-up, the Cloud ability from Super Mario Galaxy 2, which can make clouds of any weather type. He electrocutes Wart, and the chapter ends. Turns out Lord G has beef with Wart. Oh, and his motivation is he's trying to carry on the legacy of a dude named Sturm, which is definitely not a Mario character. Lord G kills Wart and tells Ludwig to stay here, as he sets off for the Bean Bean Kingdom, before they go to Sarasaland. A couple days later, the four heroes reach the border of the Mushroom Kingdom and Sarasaland. They're carrying a lot of raw fish because they don't know what else herons eat, by the way. A certain guy we just saw is there at the border and knocked out the guy who actually worked there. Motley asks him to take their bags and spend a few minutes doing something suspicious to them as everyone waits. Daisy says she knows what's going on, and the volume ends. Daisy plays a pretty interesting role in this arc, by the way. No spoilers, but since she knows so much about Sarasaland, she gets to be the one to explain a lot of things to everyone. She has a lot of knowledge on the situations they might find themselves in. She's like the Vivi of Super Mario Bros. The manga. Yeah, I took a lot of inspiration from One Piece in case you couldn't tell. And Daisy's role in future arcs, I didn't really plan much for her, so she kind of has to do a lot here. Next volume, it turns out Daisy handed him a fake ID earlier, because she recognized he was suspicious and she knows he's not a real Border Patrol agent. She smacks him in the face, and Moltley, who Daisy recognized works for Lord G, lunges towards her with some gray goop, which Daisy avoids. This is the start of the first real fight besides the Croco thing. Daisy versus Moltley Boss Blob. She smacks him down, and Moltley creates a huge thing of goop around him, which is revealed to be mercury, the power of the metal cap power-up. So basically if they touch this stuff, they're dead. Daisy deflects the mercury and asks if the bros know how to deal with this stuff. Neither Mario Bros are really good at chemistry though. End of chapter 61. Chapter 62. Moltley blows up the shack with his terrifying power-up, and everyone runs out with bags in hand. Daisy uses her Super Ball power-up, and Moltley deflects all of them with the mercury. Daisy avoids his attacks and uses those iron balls as skates to avoid his mercury and kick him in the face. Then he hits him down with an iron ball. Yeah, in case you couldn't tell from the last video, I like having characters use clever methods to to win fights, and not just through brute force. Moltley is presumed defeated. Mario asks if they want to go set up camp, but Gino says they should be 100% sure Moltley is defeated. Daisy beats Moltley even more as the chapter ends. Chapter 63. They notice the bag smells pretty bad, worse than it did before. They aren't fitted with Moltley though, and he uses his power to turn into a giant monster made of mercury and goes to attack the four heroes. Everyone dodges around, and Daisy notices her ability can't hurt Moltley in this form. Oh, and since he's a Koopa, his power-up could be permanent, so Gino refuses to let everyone run and hide till his power-up runs out. Gino flies at Moltley, and the chapter ends. In the next chapter, Gino tries to shoot Moltley, but his lasers don't work. Moltley swipes at Mario and Luigi, who can both use their cape power-up, so they fly around. Everyone else dodges around Moltley's attacks. Luigi comes up with a plan. He tells Gino to make a gigantic fan to blow away the mercury, so Moltley stands there, unprotected. End of chapter 64. Gotta pay tribute to a certain Nintendo console. Luigi ends the chapter by knocking away Moltley, probably defeating him this time, maybe. Okay, yeah, they did. So, the heroes leave the scene to set up their tents in the kingdom of Sarasaland. Alright, now that we're done with the first subordinate of Lord G, we're on to the next volume, which is what I like to call the beginning of the Grezzo Village mini-arc. A mini-arc I'm mixed on because I think it's actually pretty interesting. Characters are actually kind of fun, but it's so unnecessarily long. It's like 5 volumes, and I hated writing it. Honestly, I think it might have been the biggest reason I didn't continue the series. That doesn't make it bad, it was just a bit painful to write. So let's get right into it, huh? Totomesu and Thanatos, the two subordinates of Lord G, stand over Grezzo, the village Totomesu is the king of. And it's named after that one company that's a subsidiary of Nintendo, because why not? It's the home of the mole people and the Gao. And Totomesu only joined Lord G because he wants to protect them from him. Anyways, Gino very quickly builds the tents because he has some experience with them, and the chapter ends as everyone finds out their food's been poisoned. They have to go the night without food. Mario and Luigi briefly talk about how weird it is that they now have a brother, and we cut to the Bean Kingdom. Lord G is mercilessly killing the guards. The chapter ends. Chapter 68. The massacre continues, and the guards of the Bean Kingdom are definitely putting up more of a fight than the Toads did. Just saying. Lord G quickly takes them out, though, and goes to kill their queen, Cackletta. Yeah, I don't know why Cackletta's the queen of this universe. Anyways, Cackletta's having an audience with a dude named Fawful, who talks weird, and Lord G goes in and kills Cackletta. Lord G quickly takes her down. One monarch killed. Lord G grabs Fawful, and Fawful tells him to stop, because he can help him. Lord G is intrigued, and tells Fawful to prove himself by killing all the guards in the castle. Fawful agrees. The chapter ends. In the next chapter, Fawful kills them all. Lord G declares he can be of some use to him. A day later, our heroes wake up, and they find one granola bar that our boy Mushbrook gave them. So Mario, Luigi, and Daisy split it. Gino can't because, salt is apparently toxic to herons. If there are any biologists here, please confirm whether or not this is real. I looked it up and it does seem toxic to ducks, which are similar to herons, but I don't know. Granola bar is apparently disgusting though, so it doesn't really fill them up very much, and they decide to stop for food if they see some. Chapter ends. The next chapter starts in Grezzo Village. King Totomesu. He holds a meeting for all villagers in the village. He declares Mario and Luigi to be the enemies of all of them, and Thanatos shows up and tells them he'll murder their entire family if they help them. Totomesu excuses them, and the people of Grezzo suspect their leader is allied with some bad people. Totomesu gets mad at Thanatos for this, and Thanatos points his scythe at him. He tells him the only reason he hasn't killed them yet is because he knows deep down he's ruthless and merciless. Then Thanatos is handed a suitcase with a power-up and instructions to give it to Lord G. Then we cut to the King of Sarasaland, father of Daisy, King Camelot. And then this guy, Kid from Mario Golf. Only important characters making into this series. Kid tells him the news about Lord G massacring everyone in the Bean Kingdom. Camelot says he thinks it's a good thing because the kingdom's their enemy. He is a gigantic jerk. No wonder Daisy left. End of volume 14. The next volume starts with some familiar characters reading about the attack on the Bean capital. Pink Bob-omb King, Toad, Egad, and the people of Toad Town, who are suffering now that the Mushroom Kingdom is without a government. Back to our heroes, who are very hungry, when they're ambushed by Pokies, monsters who pop up from the ground to attack travelers. They struggle to dodge around, given how weak they are, and take a lot of damage as the chapter ends. In the next chapter, Totomesu comes with a stick, which he never uses again, to beat away the Pokies. Daisy recognizes him. Totomesu simply sighs, knocks everyone out. He didn't expect Daisy to be with them. He summons his friend Burrows, the boss from the first Super Mario Galaxy, and he captures everyone. Thanatos wants everyone publicly executed in the village. Back in the village, everyone locks up their food, and Burrows locks up the bros. Burrows has no idea why the Mario Bros are their enemies, and he just assumes they've fallen through some hard times after their play, which he's a fan of. Mario and Luigi wonder what happened as the chapter ends. Mario and Luigi are in a different cell from Gino and Daisy and decide they must try to escape. Burrows slams open the door, talks about how he's a big fan, and proves how incompetent at his job he is by explaining way too much. He accidentally mentions the walls are easy to destroy with fire, so Mario and Luigi break open the bars and decide to get some food as the chapter ends. Oh, and Daisy's still knocked out, by the way, so Mario and Luigi go as Gino stays behind with her. Mario and Luigi go to a grocery store as everyone sees them and runs away. The bros remark how interesting this village seems and go to a grocery store. The employee who works at the store is absolutely terrified of them, given he's heard how big criminals they are around here. The chapter ends. No, these chapters aren't getting shorter, by the way. There's just less to talk about this time, I suppose. Chapter 75. The mole summons up enough courage to tell them to go away and that there's no food, so the bros decide to leave. Except they do find food, a single cookie. The mole swipes it out of their hands and begs them not to eat it. Luigi says he can pay, but the mole says it isn't about money. He tells them they're criminals. Thanatos told them. Mario jumps down the passage and finds it's a passage to the underground section of the city. The mole runs towards them. Luigi throws a fireball on the ground to give them some space. They see a pipe which Mario jumps into and is shot into the overground section of the village. End of Volume 15. Volume 16. Luigi gets shot up as well. Yeah, this is how the infrastructure of Grezzo Village works. What if there's like a person in a wheelchair or something? Can they not just access half the city? Or does someone need to load them into the pipe and shoot them out and probably injure them further? Anyways, the mole decides to give up and pretend he never met these criminals. Mario and Luigi eat the cookie and decide to go find some more food. Back at the jail, Daisy wakes up, and upon hearing they're in Grezzo Village, explains how she knows who Totomesu is, the king of the village, and a gal, which are like cat people, by the way. Daisy wonders why Totomesu did this, and Gino suspects Lord G intimidated him into doing what he says. Daisy acknowledges the possibility, and Gino explains how Mario and Luigi love to get food. Back in the village, Mario and Luigi are at a visitor information center, where someone named Kuro is working, and Totomesu tells him she should hide the peppermints on the countertop. And yes, Kuro is a human version of the cat from Wario Land 4. She asks why she clearly didn't hear Totomesu's speech, so he just hides them for her, and Mario and Luigi enter the building. Mario notices something, though, goes to find it as the chapter ends. He notices Totomesu. Totomesu asks how he escaped, and Mario gets mad at him, asking for an explanation. Totomesu apologizes and lunges at Mario, which Kuro is confused by. Totomesu scratches him in the stomach, and Mario finds out from Kuro that his enemy is the leader of the town. Kuro hears that these two are enemies of Grezzo, and wonders what they did. Mario kicks Totomesu in the stomach as Totomesu lunges at him. Kuro goes to attack Luigi after she's heard how much of an enemy of Grezzo he is, scratching him a few times, which he dodges. Yeah, turns out the people of Grezzo are very loyal. Totomesu kicks a wall and shoots himself at Mario, knocking him down. Meanwhile, Luigi prepares an attack on Kuro, but she swipes and accidentally swipes away the suitcase from before as the chapter ends. Chapter 78. Luigi sees the label on the suitcase and finds out they work for Lord G. Mario and Totomesu fight for a little bit, and Mario gets a hit on him. Totomesu explains how he has to kill them, and Mario tries to kick him, but he missed. Totomesu swipes again, and Mario uses his fire power. In this power-up, Mario uses an extremely powerful uppercut with fire, but Totomesu blocks it with his claws. Mario is still able to get a hit on him with a fire punch, though, and knocks him away. Totomesu gets up and uses a power-up of his own as the chapter ends. In the next chapter, Totomesu uses his power-up to create 2 pixel Goombas, which attack Mario, and a pixel Koopa Joopa, which launches itself at him. Totomesu explains how this power-up is called the Pixel Pals, another deep cut for the series, add it to the list. Kuro scratches a few times, and Luigi dodges them all when they both step back and both get new power-ups which fell from the suitcase. Kuro continues the fight, and Luigi jumps over her, kicking her in the face as she uses her new power-up, the Super Horn from Mario Kart 8. She summons a horn and it knocks Luigi away. Mario uses his firepower to hit away the Goombas and jumps and uses a kick attack on Totomesu. End of chapter 78. The next chapter starts as Totomesu explains 3 things his power-up can make: Goombas, Koopa Troopas, and bullet bill launchers. He can only make 6 at a time though. Mario says he can deal with them easily, and uses his fire to block most of his pixel creations. He deals with most of them, and Totomesu uses a huge scratching attack, which Mario deflects with an explosion that ends with them both being knocked back. Totomesu looks at some mysterious thing behind him, and the volume ends. Volume 17. Oh hey, almost there. I only have 20 volumes in total, by the way. It's a bullet bill that hits Totomesu away, defeating him. Probably. Mario takes the peppermints, and it turns out when Mario made the fire explosion earlier, he put some fire in Totomesu's bullet bill, which allowed him to control it and hit Totomesu. But it turns out Totomesu also had one more bullet bill left, and he hits Mario, so both of them are knocked out. Meanwhile, we cut to Burrows. He notices Totomesu, his friend enemy Thanatos, repairing a mysterious collar labeled Jinbei. He panics and runs off to go find Totomesu and tell him this. Something about that must be really bad and dangerous for the people of Grezzo. Back in the jail, Daisy explains how she's heard much about Grezzo. It's a village shared by the Gao and Mole people, where half is underground and half is overground. He starts explaining the story behind this village's creation. Luigi takes some damage from Kuro's horn as the chapter ends. Chapter 82. Luigi notices the super horn. He says he's heard about it before. He tells her to give up. He already knows about the super horn and its function, to block the sound with his own waves. He uses the green missile attack and yells so loud the waves don't even hit him. He knocks Kuro down and wins the battle. Mario and Totomesu continue a fight a bit, both with their power-ups run out. They're interrupted by Burrows, who tells them Thanatos was repairing the collar made by Jinbei. Both Totomesu and Kuro stop fighting, and the chapter ends. Chapter 83. Mario eats a whole bunch of peppermints, and they demand an explanation from Totomesu. Totomesu explains he allied with Lord G, and lies by telling he promised good things for the village. In reality, he was scared by him and his power. But it turns out Thanatos, who also works with Lord G, is related to someone named Jinbei. Totomesu can't continue this any longer, so he stops fighting. Kuro is very surprised when she finds out these two are the Mario Bros and the brothers of Lord G. Mario asks who Jinbei is, and Totomesu tells a story. The story of the creation of Grezzo Village, as Daisy tells Gino the story as well. In 1962, the Gao and Mole people lived on opposite ends of a hill, and the Gao were ruled by a man named King Grezzo. Arthur, that's his name, yes. An assistant of the king gives him some building plans. He wants to finally extend the kingdom's borders to across the hill. The chapter ends. So, yeah, by the way, there is an extended flashback for Grezzo Village. Given how inspired by One Piece this story is, I also kept the lengthy flashback scenes. I plan a flashback for Lord G2 and some other ones I'll get to later. Anyways, Totomesu tells Arthur he can't do it because the people living behind the hill, which he didn't know. Arthur says he'll reconsider and leaves. King Grezzo asks his son, Totomesu, if he knows this, and he says he didn't. Meanwhile, on the mole side, a little kid version of Burrows finds a big hill on the edge of the village, which he decides to tunnel through. The chief of the village, Montgo, tells him to stop. People have mysteriously gone missing around the hill, and their miners found a locked door with the word Jinbei on it. This absolutely terrifies the poor Burrows, who runs away. Cut to the inside of the hill, and we find the people of 2 villages imprisoned by Jinbei, who he has mushroom assistant things called shroobs that he grew in a lab. By the way, we then get a reveal of Jinbei's face, and it turns out he wants to claim those 2 villages in the name of a man called the Shadow King. The next day, Jinbei breaks down the door of King Grezzo's castle. Yeah, y'all know the Game Boy puzzle game Mole Mania? Well, that's what Jinbei's from. You probably thought I named her after the One Piece character. I actually did not. End of chapter 84. Chapter 85. Jinbei threatens Grezzo and kills one of his guards. Jinbei's taken over their village, and the village of the mole people too. Cut back to present day. Daisy explains they were left there for 2 years. There were multiple floors and places to sleep in, but still, they were trapped for 2 years. They didn't see the sun for all that time. The room was encased in metal, so the moles couldn't dig out. And Jinbei gave them rations and kept them alive for some reason. Totomasu continues the story, and so does Daisy, as the volume ends. Alright, moving on, volume 18. Jinbei talks to a delivery service owner named Paraplank. Oh god, the obscure characters never end. He demands food delivery on the 7th of each month. It turns out, since this mysterious Shadow King never specified if he wants everyone alive or not, he kept them alive just in case. King Grezzo declares in front of everyone they must escape, and the people cheer as Grezzo and Montgo meet each other. Grezzo leads everyone outside of the jail to organize their prison break as the chapter ends. Yeah, it doesn't work out very well. The Gallon Mole people are sent back to their prison and forced to live there for 2 years. They did everything together, eat and sleep and become very good friends. Montgo realizes they always get more food on the 7th of each month, about 2 p.m. Grezzo tells him he's a genius. This could be a great opportunity to escape. They've prepared this for 2 years, and they finally have a plan. Grezzo declares this will be the day they escape. And hey, turns out Motley knew Jinbei, and he also follows the Shadow King. That's probably why he joined Lord G. End of chapter 87. So, this part of the story that I'm going through this video, it's like a lot of setup for things that I haven't actually written yet. So, like things in the next 2 arcs or the conclusion with Lord G. If a lot of things seem weird, that's probably why. Like the Shadow King. Okay, also spoilers, but for a thing you won't I don't technically say, but the Shadow King is pretty much the villain of the 3rd arc. Pretty much. It's kind of complicated. Well, anyways, chapter 88. They all break out and end up fighting all of Jinbei's forces. Burroughs, Kuro, and Totomasu have to stay inside, because, kids can't fight in wars. But Totomasu wants to be a child soldier anyways. So they leave. Jinbei started to put collars on the people, which can instantly kill them with the push of a button. The stakes are high. Montgo dodges around him, and Jinbei points his remote to kill one person. This angers Grezzo, who scratches him, makes him drop the remote. Totomasu appears as the chapter ends. Chapter 89. Grezzo attacks Jinbei some more, who then deals some damage to Montgo and picks up his remote again. The 2 kings scratch him some more and knock him out. The people of Grezzo are free. They defeated him. Only Jinbei isn't done yet. He gets up, presses the button again, pointing the remote at both Montgo and Grezzo. Grezzo stabs Jinbei through the chest, and they both collapse. Dead. All 3 of them. Montgo says they can unite their 2 villages and call it Grezzo Village. Grezzo likes the idea, and they both die. That's the end of their story. Daisy wonders why Totomasu considers them their enemy, as Luigi says he's sorry this happened to him. Totomasu says it's alright. It was a long time ago, and he had Burroughs and Kuro to help him. In return, Mario explains what they know about Lord G as the chapter ends. In the next chapter, everyone recognizes Lord G as evil, and they have to stop him. Todomasu wonders how Thanatos knows Jinbei. Mario asks for food, and Todomasu agrees, on one condition. They help him defeat Thanatos. Our 4 heroes ally with Grezzo Village. It's the only chance they have to defeat Thanatos. Burrows and Kuro are very excited for this. Our heroes go to find Thanatos as the volume ends. Next one is volume 19. Second last volume. Mario and Luigi come back with a bag full of peppermints. Todomasu and Daisy meet with each other, and then Todomasu explains the whole situation to Daisy, when suddenly the building starts crumbling. Todomasu is under the jail and turns his scythe into a shovel, and is shoveling the tunnel underneath the jail. Daisy is excited about working together. The chapter ends. In the next chapter, the floor crumbles around them, and our heroes fall down and are face to face with Thanatos. Luigi goes to attack. Thanatos bunts him away with the flat end of a scythe. Gino goes to attack too, which Thanatos deflects with a shield mode on his scythe. He throws his shield at Gino, knocking him away. He turns his scythe into a shovel, shovels some dirt onto his face, and hits him away. He tells Todomasu to finish him off. The next chapter starts with Todomasu refusing. He tells them they know he works for Jinbei. Luigi explains why. Thanatos doesn't even try to deny it. Tells everyone how Todomasu joined the enemy of Grezzo, purely out of fear. Todomasu continues to deny it and swipes at him. He slashes Kuro, as Todomasu jumps around and deals some damage to him. Thanatos turns his scythe into an anchor and throws it forward, which everyone dodges. Gino blocks it, and so Thanatos retracts it back in. So his weapon has modes based on a scythe, a shovel, a shield, and an anchor. I wonder what that's a reference to. Anyways, he shovels some dirt onto Todomasu's face, swings at him, and Luigi with the scythe. He deflects some blows with the shield, and Mario does a spike attack as the chapter ends. Chapter 94. Thanatos blocks the attack, and Luigi hits him with the green missile attack. Todomasu tries to yoink his weapon, so Thanatos turns it into an anchor and pulls down some dirt onto everyone. Gino uses some celestial energy to keep it from burying them, making a dome around them. Thanatos recognizes this. He knows what celestial energy is. Under the dome, everyone discusses their next move. Todomasu says before everyone goes to attack, there's something he wants to ask Thanatos. Gino makes the dome disappear, and Todomasu asks Thanatos how he's affiliated with Jinbei. Thanatos tells him a story as the chapter ends. Chapter 95. Years before Jinbei kidnapped the Gao and Mole people, he created Thanatos in a lab using organic material. He was his legacy, his life's work. He used technology thought to be impossible and linked their minds. All of his memories and thoughts were partly shared, and he knows what his last words are. His last words were him talking to the Shadow King. Thanatos explained who the Shadow King is. Years ago, a man named Sturm had visions of a powerful god named the Shadow King. He told him he would come to his planet to destroy it all, and the only way to survive is to carry out his will. So he's part of a cult pretty much, but Thanatos insists the Shadow King is real, and he will destroy the world. But Sturm is gone now, and the one who leads this cult is Lord G. That's what his motives are. Thanatos creates some shrubs, the things Jinbei had, and Luigi and Daisy go up to fend them off so they don't attack civilians, while Burrows and Kuro fend off the ones underground, leaving Mario and Todomasu to fight Thanatos. End of chapter 19. So yeah, one more completed volume left. Here it is, the last one I did. There's not really much to say, so let's just get right into this one. We start back in a flashback. It turns out Egad stole his power-up research from Jinbei. That's basically all we learn here. Anyways, Kuro and Burrows fight off some shrubs, and Mario uses his cape power-up, which Gino doesn't think is a good idea. Mario flies around Thanatos and punches him in the chest. Thanatos tries to stab him with a shovel, but Mario dodges. Mario shovels some dirt into Thanatos' eyes. Gino now thinks it was a good idea. Thanatos uses up his anchor mode again and flings it at the top of the dirt, again. Up above, Luigi and Daisy fight some shrooms as the ground collapses underneath them, but Gino saves them with a celestial diamond around him, and the chapter ends. Chapter 97. Gino suddenly remembers Lord G is looking for his celestial energy. Not a good time to remember this. He says if they go now, they might just have a chance to stop him. Mario says they should go. Todomasu tells him they had an alliance. He tells him Lord G is important. They should fight Thanatos themselves. Todomasu agrees. He tells him to come visit them in Grecia once it's finished. So, they very suddenly split up. Mario, Luigi, Daisy, and Gino leave as Todomasu, Kuro, and Burrows fight Thanatos. End of chapter. So much for that alliance. The fight continues. Thanatos uses her power-up to knock Todomasu away. The spiny shell. The evil shell from Mario Kart. He throws it and it explodes. After the dust clears, Burrow tries to attack, but is hit away by the shell. Todomasu scratches him, but Thanatos turns the shell around and makes it explode on him. That's the ability of the shell, by the way. He can let the shell home in on enemies and explode. He punches and knees Todomasu, who swings around and scratches him in the head. Thanatos pushes him down, and the chapter ends. Chapter 99. Back to the four main heroes. Gino suspects the signal of Rainbow Road Chunk could be on Tall Mountain. Not the ideal spot for a place like this. Back underground, Todomasu admits to Burrows and Kuro he allied with Lord G because he threatened him. He was scared of him. Nice resolution to this plot. Thanatos climbs up to the above section of the city and starts threatening some civilians when Todomasu shows up to fight. He scratches him with a bunch of attacks, which ends with a one huge scratch that ends up breaking the shield. End of this chapter. With that, we're on to chapter 100. Can you believe we're already here? And chapter 100 also happens to be the last one too. Todomasu swipes at Thanatos, so he brings out the anchor and swings it down at him. Only, he's in the perfect position for Todomasu's plan. Burrows digs underneath him and snatches his weapon. Todomasu tells him he made a mistake when he decided to face a mole underground. Thanatos' powers ran out at this point, and he's trapped deep underground by Burrows. Everyone celebrates their victory. Todomasu tells him he'll find a place for him soon. He thanks our four heroes for making a difference in the village, as he tells everyone the story of the victory that just happened. We get another look at the four heroes off to beat Giuseppe as the volume ends. The Grezzo arc concludes. So does the story. Yeah, that is all the content I wrote for Super Mario Bros. The manga. I was naive for thinking this video would be significantly shorter than the last one. Now, here's the thing. That Grezzo village arc where I got bored, I basically decided to quit writing it, It really wasn't that bad. Maybe it was just kind of long, given the whole flashback, but I didn't really find it uninteresting compared to the rest of the story. All the story is bad, but I just think it's pretty funny that this section I wrote I thought it would be very boring. It was actually pretty fun to read through. Anyways, I didn't really get to talk that much about what I was thinking while writing this and why I really did decide to stop, so I'll for sure talk more about that next time. I talk about the rest of this arc and the last two arcs, what I plan to write for them. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.